everyone, it's Dawn and welcome to my channel. We are on the right day. It is Tuesday. I usually do my videos the day before, but yesterday my Wi-Fi went down and I could record but I couldn't upload, and then something happened and I couldn't record, and it was just one of those days where I thought I'm going back to bed in a minute. But anyway, today is totally different. So what we're going to do, we're going to use our watercolour pencils. You can use whatever medium you like. I'm going to use my watercolour pencils because that's what I like to use. And what we're going to do, I was doing yesterday morning, I do an in-person tutorial on a Monday morning, and we do a little painting class. And I have one of my ladies, lovely lady, they're all lovely ladies, and she said she couldn't even draw a snowman. And I thought, well, actually, you know, you can. Most of them are crafters as well. So I thought, well, there may be others out there that says, I can't even draw a snowman. Now, let me tell you something. I'll let you into a secret. So apart from my little group, you're the only ones that know this secret. If you've got circle dies, you can draw a snowman. So what we're going to do, it won't take too long. At least I hope it won't. And we're going to paint. As I say, I'm using my watercolour pencils, which I've got here. You can use whatever medium you feel comfortable with. And we are going to paint a little Christmas card with a snowman in it from scratch. Now, I won't give you measurements here because the process is the same. And which size card you use and which size dies you use, depending on the size of your snowman, is entirely up to you. Now, I'll just give you one little tip. I would always suggest that you use two dies and you make one slightly smaller than the other. So whichever you decide for your body, take the next size down and use for your head. So you could do a couple of these and put the head on the top, but we're not going to do that, otherwise we'll have a giant snowman. It's only a little card, it's only a 6x4 card. So I'm just going to do two dies, one of each. So but before we even do that, because it's a snowman, we're going to assume that at some point in this scene it's been snowing. So we're going to take our pencil. Now if you're going to draw this with pencil, don't do it as heavily as I'm going to. I'm only doing it heavy so that you can see what I'm doing. So just twist and turn your pencil so that you get an uneven line, because snow never falls flat. Well, it never does in my garden anyway. It falls all over the place. And then what we're going to do, we're going to what I am actually going to do, having said that, once you've done that, I've put a rubber or an eraser on the end of my eraser. I think in some places they call them erasers. In the UK, sometimes we call them rubbers, but I know that can mean something else. So we don't offend anyone, we'll call it an eraser. Once you've done your line, just take away a little bit with an eraser. I've got one, as I say, taped to the end of my pencil. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the largest die and just put it within the perimeters of that broken line so that it's slightly below the line. Don't have everything all lined up, because it doesn't work like that, and it will make it look more natural if you've got a bit of the snow coming up around the body. So what we're going to do, we're going to pop that down like that. If you do get a little bit of the pencil line showing, then so be it. And by the time we're done, you're not really going to see this pencil, because we're going to, or this pencil line, because we're going to paint around it, and we're going to paint over it in some instances. So we've got that. That's okay, that's not quite joined up, that doesn't matter. And then we're going to pop the other one on the top, maybe slightly over, but we're going to give him a scarf so the overlap won't show. And what we do, I always draw on the inside. If you want to draw on the outside to make your snowman a little bit bigger, that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to I always do it on the inside of this die. It just makes it easier. Well, for me anyway. So the other thing we're going to do, once we've done that, where we have that overlap on the head, that's why I'd always suggest using a pencil, because any unwanted lines you can get rid of. In fact, we're going to get rid of that line too, because we're going to put a scarf around his neck, so you're not going to see it. So we're just going to get rid of that. And so in effect, what you're going to have is what looks like a number 8 without the hole bits in the middle. So now we're going to we'll get back to our snowman in just a minute. But what we are going to do, I'm going to use, I don't know what colour it is, a darkish blue pencil, which is why, and the reason I'm doing it on a fairly small card is so that we don't take all day. So we're just going to go over our background. So this obviously will be the sky. We're going to stop when we come to the snowman, if it goes over a little bit, it doesn't matter too much. But we're going to try not to let it go over, and we're going to stop when we come to our snowdrift here. So we're going to stop there so that we get that mound of snow. So we're going to pop that over there like that, and then I'm not going to stop and do any speed up. We're going to do this in real time so that you can see the image building up. So when you're painting it yourself, you'll know what to expect at each stage of your painting. So you don't have to be too precise. This is the sky. There's no detail in it. We're not going to put any background trees or hedges or fences or anything like that. You can if you want to. If you're used to drawing and you feel comfortable doing that, you can. But we're just going to do one snowdrift, a bit of sky and one snowman. So we'll do that. And I've got my paintbrush here. I could have picked up a bigger paintbrush, but never mind. And all we're going to do, I would suggest you start around the snowman and blend your sky. Start it down there and come around like that. And then by the time you get, then of course you'll have to work your way to the top. Or you will work your way to the top. But by the time, if you start around the snowman, if you use watercolour pencils, it shouldn't take too long to dry. So if you start there, I could have put my pot on the other side, but it doesn't matter. But if we go around the snowman first, so we've painted around or added the water around our snowman. You can use ordinary watercolours if you want to, but obviously that will take a little bit longer to dry. But if you do it with watercolour pencils or even coloured pencils, even better, because you don't have to wait for them to dry. So, if you're using watercolour pencils, I would always suggest go around your snowman first, because then by the time you get to the top, the bottom part will, if it hasn't dried completely, it will have dried enough for you to finish your painting or to finish your card. So this is just a very simple Christmas card or even a winter birthday card. So we're not going to put a sentiment on this one. We're just going to leave it. We could have put one at the bottom, but we're going to leave that blank. So that's for your imagination to deal with. So there we go. Already we've got a nice background. We can see our snowman and he's working out quite nicely. So we haven't really got much more to do. So for the eyes, we're going to give him some eyes. And all I'm going to do is take a black pencil and draw 2 round dots. It's a bit high up, but it doesn't matter. And we'll use that again in a minute. What I am going to do, I hadn't thought about this, or I'd have drawn it in beforehand, but it really doesn't matter. I'm going to give him a hat. So all you do is go around the top part of your snowman. So even if you've never drawn a hat before, just follow the top of the head round. It's like an arch, almost like a semicircle, but not quite. And then all you do is draw, it's almost like a triangle with a rounded top. So use up and round like that. And we are not going to add water to this. We're going to leave this proud. So in watercolour pencils, leaving it proud just means you're going to add the colour and you're not going to water it in. We're going to leave it proud so that it stands out. So there you go. If you wanted to add a different colour on the top for a bobble, you can. So I hadn't planned to do that, but let's do that. Let's take a green. And on the top, we'll give him a bobble. So just a small round blob like that, just to finish it off. So we'll call it a bobble hat. But again, we're going to leave that proud. We're not going to colour it. We're not going to add water. So obviously, because he's a snowman, he needs a nose. Now I'll just make sure I've picked up an orange and not a red. So we're going to draw, so if you've never drawn, it's like a triangle but to the side. So you draw a straight line down. I'm going to have my carrot pointing to my right. So again, just like that. So it's really like drawing an orange triangle. And again, we'll just leave it proud. We'll just colour it in or fill it in. And I'm going to use, again, my black, and just under the nose, we're going to do some slightly smaller dots for his mouth. So that was easy, wasn't it? So the next thing we're going to do, or the last thing really we're going to do, is we're going, as I say, we're going to give him a scarf. So what we do is it's almost like a small rectangle in this case. So if you think about your drawing in geometric shapes, it's not as scary as you think it's going to be. If you want to just do a rectangle and then do a bit of a round curve at the end, that's up to you, but you don't have to. And because it's a scarf, again, we're going to do a longer rectangle. So down like that, like that. Fill it in. Again, we're going to leave this proud. We're not going to fill it in. And we're going to have another one, slightly shorter, but just sticking out the end like that. We're not going to give him any buttons because I think the scarf would cover that up. And shall we give him some sticky out arms with some sticks? Shall we use some twigs to give him some arms? Yeah, why not? So I'm using a dark brown. So all you need to do is like that, just a straight-ish line with a few twiggy bits on the end. That's all you need. Twiggy bits, that's a technical term, obviously. So again, do one on the other side. He's got his arms up in the air, so he could be doing his aerobics. You never know. So there we go. There is your snowman. If you want to, you could take your eraser. If you really don't like these pencil lines, once it's dry, you can just take them away. You'll see the indentation, but you won't see that harsh line. And you won't have a harsh line if you don't make your lines as thick as I did. So you will see lines, but that's only because I did it harder than I normally do, so that you can see it. So there you go. In no time at all, we have a wonderful little snowman with a very simple background, and that, I think, that would make a very acceptable Christmas card or winter birthday card. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a go yourself. So thank you very much for watching. Have fun, everybody. Take care. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Add any comments you'd like to. And if you're not a subscriber, but you've enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe. Now, if you hit the subscribe and then hit it again and click all, you will see all of the videos that come up on this channel. But if you just click subscribe and leave it at that, it'll go to personal. And that sometimes doesn't necessarily mean you'll see everything. So if you hit the subscribe again and click all, you'll see all of the videos that come up on this channel. So do that, and I'd love it if you come back and join us again on Friday, and I'll have another project for you. And in the meantime, do take care, everybody. Have fun, take care, and as always, happy crafting. Bye bye for now.